He was born in the wild heart of Mongolia, raised by the sword and tempered by betrayal. Out of exile and chaos, he forged the greatest land empire the world has ever seen. This is not just the story of a conqueror. This is the story of how one man reshaped continents, changed the course of history, and left a legacy that still echoes through time. This is the story of Genghis Khan. Temüjin, named after a Tatar warrior whom his father had just defeated in battle, was born around 1162 near the Onon River, the son of tribal chieftain Yesugei. His early life was marked by tragedy. His father was poisoned by the rival Tatars, and the family was cast out by their own clan. Left to starve, young Temüjin hunted, scavenged, and learned to lead. He was captured by a rival tribe and enslaved, only to escape and return stronger. Even as a teenager, Temüjin was forming alliances and swearing blood oaths, most notably with Jamuka, a friend who would later become his greatest enemy. Exile forged his resilience. Loss became his teacher. In the crucible of suffering, the boy became a leader. In the chaotic world of Mongol tribes, loyalty was fleeting, and betrayal was common. Temüjin's rise was anything but smooth. He was once betrayed by his blood brother Jamuka, who turned from ally to enemy. Their rivalry culminated in a brutal civil war. In 1187, Jamuka defeated Temüjin and executed 70 of his top commanders by boiling them alive. But Temüjin would not stay defeated. Over the next decade, he built a coalition unlike any other, not based on noble birth, but on loyalty and merit. He offered spoils and security to the poor and marginalized, welcoming even former enemies into his growing force. His greatest innovation wasn't just warfare, it was unifying the fractured steppe. By 1206, Temüjin had crushed his rivals, including Jamuka. A grand Kurultai, or tribal council, was summoned. There, the chieftains of all Mongol tribes declared him Genghis Khan, universal ruler. It was not just a new name, it was a rebirth. Temüjin, the exiled boy, the slave, the hunted, now stood as the absolute ruler of the Mongols. Unity was not given. It was taken through blood, steel, and unbreakable vision. After unifying the Mongol tribes in 1206, Genghis Khan turned his sights outward. His first major target, the Western Xia dynasty, Xia, located in what is now northwestern China. The Mongols launched their first campaign against Xia in 1209. Despite Xia's fortified cities and large population, Genghis used relentless siege tactics and psychological pressure. When Xia submitted, he didn't destroy them, but demanded tribute and military support. Next, he targeted the Jin dynasty, rulers of northern China. The Jin controlled Beijing, then Zhongdu, and had a formidable army, but internal corruption and overconfidence made them vulnerable. In 1211, the Mongol army, around 90,000 strong, invaded Jin territory. Genghis split his forces into divisions that attacked simultaneously, overwhelming Jin defenses. He crushed several large Jin armies, including the pivotal Battle of Yehuling in 1211, where the Mongols destroyed a Jin force reportedly numbering over 300,000. He didn't just break armies, he broke the will of entire nations. By 1215, Genghis Khan laid siege to Zhongdu, Beijing. The city resisted fiercely for over a year, but when it fell, the Mongols massacred much of the population and burned the city to the ground. After consolidating power in China, Genghis turned west, aiming to open diplomatic trade with the Khwarezmian Empire, a wealthy state spanning modern-day Iran, Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. He sent a caravan of 500 merchants to establish trade, and they were executed. Genghis then sent 3 envoys to seek justice. Sultan Ala ad-Din Muhammad had one envoy beheaded and the others mutilated. Genghis Khan responded with vengeance. Not a raid, not a warning, an invasion of total annihilation. In 1219, Genghis led an army of around 150,000 to 200,000, including Chinese engineers, siege weapons, and steppe cavalry. First target, Otrar, where the merchants were killed. The city resisted for 5 months before falling. The governor was executed by pouring molten silver into his eyes and mouth, a brutal statement. Then came Bukhara. The Mongols stormed the walls, massacred thousands, and spared only artisans and scholars. "I am the punishment of God," Genghis told the people. "If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." Samarkand, the jewel of the empire, fell next. It had 100,000 defenders, but surrendered after a brief siege. The Mongols captured Urgench last, the Sultan's capital, and one of the richest cities in Central Asia. The siege was long and bloody. Genghis had to restrain his generals from slaughtering too early. He wanted the treasure first. Once taken, the city was reportedly so densely populated that each Mongol soldier was ordered to kill 24 people. After the Khwarezmian Empire collapsed, the Mongols pursued the fleeing Sultan, who died on a desolate island in the Caspian Sea. But Genghis wasn't finished. He sent his top generals Subutai and Jebe on a long-range reconnaissance mission across Persia, the Caucasus, and into Eastern Europe, essentially a testing strike. They weren't just scouting. They were sowing terror. They defeated a combined force of Georgians and Armenians in the Caucasus, crushed Kipchak and Rus forces at the Battle of the Kalka River, 1223, slaughtering nobles under a false truce. This was the first warning to Europe. Genghis wouldn't live to invade it himself, but the path was paved. Genghis Khan's brilliance wasn't just on horseback. His warfare was systematic, psychological, and efficient. Feigned retreats. Mongol cavalry often pretended to flee, only to encircle and destroy pursuing enemies. Propaganda and terror. He spared cities that surrendered and obliterated those that resisted, creating a reputation that made future conquests easier. He employed Chinese and Persian siege engineers to conquer fortified cities. He wasn't just a warlord. He was a master tactician and a terrifying psychologist. Genghis Khan wasn't only a warrior. He was a builder of systems, the Yasa, a law code that governed all aspects of life, emphasizing loyalty, discipline, and justice. The Yam, the communication network of relay stations and horse messengers. Meritocracy. Positions of power were awarded based on ability, not birth. He protected religious freedom, trade, and even foreign artisans and scholars. Where he ruled, the Silk Road flourished. He turned chaos into order, and terror into administration. In 1226, Genghis Khan launched his final campaign against the Western Shah, who had defied his authority by refusing military support. Though aging, he led the campaign personally. During the siege of Yinchuan, he reportedly fell from his horse and sustained internal injuries. Some accounts suggest he was wounded in battle or even assassinated by a captured princess, but the truth remains unclear. In 1227, Genghis Khan died at 65 years of age amid the final stages of the Western Shia campaign. His death was kept secret to maintain the morale of the army and ensure a smooth transition of power. His body was taken back to Mongolia, and legend says that to keep his burial site hidden, everyone who witnessed the funeral procession was executed. A forest was trampled flat by horses. A river was diverted to flow over his tomb. To this day, his burial site has never been found. Even in death, he commanded silence. Even in burial, he remained untraceable. His descendants continued his conquests. His grandson Kublai Khan founded the Yuan dynasty in China. Batu Khan invaded Eastern Europe, sacking Kiev and threatening Vienna. Under Genghis and his heirs, the Mongol Empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Danube River, from the Siberian tundra to the Persian Gulf. More than just territory, his legacy was biological and cultural. 1 in 200 men alive today is genetically linked to him. He connected East and West, spread ideas, goods, and technologies across continents. He redrew maps, rewrote laws, and reshaped civilizations. Genghis Khan was not merely a man, he was a force of history. He rose from nothing, abandoned as a child, enslaved as a boy, hunted as a rebel, and yet he carved an empire from the bones of old kingdoms. He ruled not just with fear, but with vision, not just with a sword, but with law, tolerance, and order. His name still echoes, not just in ruins and battlefields, but in the borders we draw, the roads we follow, and the bloodlines we carry. Genghis Khan reshaped the world, and whether by fear or fascination, the world has never stopped looking back. If you found this story compelling, share it, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more epic chapters of history. History isn't just in books, it rides with us.